did the first webinar at the beginning of the year around API management, and then we did one on good enough messaging with the NQ Appliance and NQ series. All of the replays are available off of our media showcase and on our YouTube channel as well. So first of all, let me introduce our speakers today. We have Bryan Kataoka, who's the iSOA Group CTO. Bryan is going to spend time with all of you today to share some best practices on how to get the most out of your B2B solution. We have Cheryl Bertini, who's also with iSOA Group. She's both the COO and the focus of her attention is always on keeping customers supported and happy with both iSOA Group and the IBM offerings. And we're lucky to have with us as well Rich Kinard, who's a good friend of the iSOA team and a good friend of mine and colleague. He's the worldwide DataPower sales leader. So first of all, again, thank you for joining. And I want to turn the call over to Cheryl Bertini, who's going to give you a brief overview of who iSOA Group is, and then we'll get started in the session.
Thanks, Brian. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar today. And I'm going to keep this for your benefit, short and sweet. So iSOA Group, we formed about 18 years ago under parent company Commerce Solutions Incorporated, and we are an IBM reseller and professional services firm providing end-to-end services in the IBM middleware technologies and specifically around innovation and security. We have a strong focus in the data and having worked with over 100 customers in various business sectors. So, like I said, I'm keeping that short and sweet, and I'm going to turn it back over to you, Brian. Take it away.
Thank you, Cheryl. First of all, today I'm going to spend a few minutes with you all to talk about the B2B economy and the opportunity. Rich Kinard, as I already introduced, he's going to take you through how IBM's DataPower Gateway can be the best or one of the best B2B solutions to help you at your business. And again, we're going to wrap up with Bryan Kataoka, who's going to give you some insight on how to extend and gain the most value out of your B2B solution. And at the end, we'll have plenty of time for questions, and we'll share that as well. So business-to-business commerce continues to grow in complexity. In the early days of e-commerce, I actually helped lead IBM's B2B commerce efforts. For those of you who've been around IBM maybe as long as I have, you might remember products such as Net.commerce, and I helped lead the introduction of the B2B offerings. In those days, we discussed the dynamics of e-commerce would bring new business relationships in the B2B environment. There'd be a focus, and all the expectations would start to be set by how consumers view commerce. But in those days, we were really focused on moving things like EDI over the internet. We were focused on making ordering and reordering simpler. But today, B2B is more than just about technology and speeding up commerce. It really is about innovation. It's about supporting industry and government regulations and compliance. It is about globalization and the ability not just to add customers from around the globe, but business partners to extend your reach and new suppliers to help you grow your business. It is also about meeting competitive pressures within and around your particular industry. Look at all the new entrants in the marketplace around every industry, whether it's media, finance, that keep coming up based on new business models and new opportunities. As an example, look at the changes in healthcare, moving from truthfully a fee-for-service model to more of a focus on overall value for service and keeping the patient healthy. This not only changes the way we get served as patients, it also changes the way businesses interact, whether it's a doctor to a hospital to an insurance payer, or a hospital who's getting paid for services by the government. All of these interactions mean these businesses need to evolve how they communicate and be able to do so with agility and innovation. Or look at the clothing retailers of yesterday who were able to watch the fashion shows and design out seasons ahead what they were going to supply in their store. Now, as the model walks down the catwalk in Manhattan, a retailer now has to have that fashion on their shelf. So we're watching all these dynamics to change from being reactionary to the technology to being innovative. So these changes require an approach to e-commerce, and customers and business partners are expecting the same responsiveness in their B2B environment that they have in their consumer environment. We understand at iSOA Group, along with IBM, that the key is to start or to look at your B2B integration environment. Think about how you're integrating with your business partners, how you're integrating with your customers, and how that all can come together for innovation. It needs to be secured, it needs to be scalable, and it needs to be integrated. Not just providing the capabilities of yesterday of integrating messaging, but it needs to be able to simplify the way you integrate your partners, the way you integrate your customers, and you turn that into a trusted solution that they can depend on. And most importantly, as you'll hear from Rich and you'll hear from Bryan Kataoka, it gives you the opportunity to innovate and become innovative and extend that reach beyond traditional B2B. In addition, IBM has a product called WebSphere Partner Gateway that came out in 2005. And WebSphere Partner Gateway, as many of you know, was a very good and still is a very good business-to-business integration gateway. However, IBM announced at the beginning of this year that they were going to end support in marketing, as you can see on the slide, and end support, standard support in September of next year. So as you're looking at opportunities, we're looking at different ways of looking at B2B. iSOA Group, along with IBM, are working not only with customers that are looking at B2B opportunities, but as well as those who have solutions such as WebSphere Partner Gateway and other B2B integration solutions to see how they can look at this new world of B2B integration and look toward innovation. One of the keys is to understand not only the opportunity, but to look at these changes as an opportunity to innovate, but you have to address what are the technical trends that are impacting B2B integration. Let's think about how this technology leads to innovation and these trends. Think about globalization. Think about allowing the exchange of business information around the globe and always in an on-time, online e-commerce environment. This requires an integrated solution that can implement standards in messaging and supporting local standards around the globe while simplifying their integration. Because it's not enough just to think about globalization, but if you're going to be connecting to suppliers and customers around the world, you need to be able to do that quickly and simply and make it easy for the business side and the technology side to be innovative. Again, it's not enough to just think about globalization, but also think about consumerization. Your expectation of how easy shopping now is online translates to what your business customers want when they come into the office as well. So making sure that you can support globalization, making sure that they have the use and the expectations and the way they do commerce together is important. And also mobility and the internet. Think about yesterday with utilities. An electric company would get your meter read once a month and use that to determine what the future might be. Today, with intelligent meters, with mobile devices reading trends and taking snapshots of the weather, that utility now knows every 15 minutes what the weather trends are and the usage patterns are that are shaping their business. How does that translate to B2B? It translates to what the demands are for them to have the right fuel, the right supply coming into the utility at the right time. So looking at the ability to take all of this new technology, there are other things that you need to consider as well. Cloud integration. Are you leveraging cloud to store data? Are you leveraging cloud applications such as Salesforce and other applications in the cloud? Are your partners looking at cloud solutions that they want to integrate with you as well? Looking at a hybrid cloud and looking at the ability to bring a framework together to integrate not only your own cloud, but your partners and your customers' cloud environments is important as well. And frankly, none of this will work if your customers can't trust you. So as you're looking at security and looking at compliance, don't just think about it as a way to comply with the government or an industry regulation, but think about it in terms of your brand and the trust that you're sharing with your own partners and your own customers, and that trust is really your brand and your reputation. And if you look at the center of this diagram, if you bring all this together, you can actually visualize your new B2B environment in a new way. So again, at iSOA Group, as we look at the B2B trends, as we look at the changing technology transitions of products from things like WebSphere Partner Gateway to IBM's newer gateway offerings, we see this as an opportunity to innovate. And we, as Cheryl mentioned, we've been an IBM partner for quite a while and been invested in the DataPower environment for quite a while. And we believe DataPower is a great opportunity. And it's my pleasure to introduce Rich Kinard. He's going to take you through how DataPower and the DataPower B2B Gateway can be a great solution, great opportunity for all of you. Rich?
Good afternoon, everybody. As Brian had stated, my name is Rich Kinard. I'm a worldwide sales leader for DataPower. And what we're going to do here is walk you through first of what DataPower looked like today compared to what it looked like in the past. So I want to take you through our multi-channel enterprise gateway and then the B2B functionality that's built on top of it. So B2B was built on top of the proven gateway solution that we acquired in 2005, that solution being DataPower. And since its acquisition, we've enhanced and built upon that technology, taking it from a product, just a next to more platform in IBM. That's now recognized inside IBM and outside gateway. There's security. We're looking at and developing and adding technology that supports that model and basically can manage those trends. Okay? So let's take a closer look at how DataPower provides value in the B2B space. Can we move to the next slide, please? Okay. So let's take a look at the B2B module in itself. So in the past, this used to be a hardware appliance and a hardware appliance only. Now we're a B2B module. It's built to handle the most popular and widely used protocols out in the marketplace today, not just transport protocols like FTP, SFTP, or HTTP, and even SMTP and POP for mail. But it handles B2B messaging protocols as well, AS1, AS2, AS3, and EBMS 2.0. So those protocols are the most widely used in the marketplace today for B2B messaging. The solution, like I said, was built about 7 years ago and evolved to run on top of DataPower platform as a module as opposed to being a separate appliance. This will run on DataPower either in the appliance form factor or the virtual form factor. So it doesn't matter which form factor you're running for DataPower, the B2B module can run on top of it. If you're customers that have existing models of DataPower, the old hardware models, the 9005 models that we call them of DataPower, these modules will also run on top of those appliances as well. So the main value proposition for DataPower B2B, if you look at the slide, is really to move B2B governance security into the DMZ, rejecting unwanted partner connections and malicious data before it gets into your trusted zone. This is unlike traditional B2B deployments. Traditional deployments typically have a proxy server sitting inside the DMZ that proxies data into the trusted zone. But that data still may not be secure. It may be malicious. It may be a partner or a connection that you don't want. And we want to be able to reject those connections and those partners as well as that data inside the DMZ. So the B2B portion of the B2B module itself provides the much more robust security model that allows you as little or as much control, inspection, manipulation of the data that passes through it. We do this by supporting the most widely used B2B messaging protocols and the file transfer protocols. Things like FTP and SFTP are also fully supported on top of DataPower. We add profile management to govern partner connection policy. It gives you more of a managed flow and control of the data as it flows through the system. And then we also provide you the ability to take a look and see what the state of any transaction running through the service is. So did it succeed? Did it fail? Do we want to give our key partners the ability to see the state of their own transactions and give them the ability to send transactions back to themselves from the gateway? These are the kind of things that you get with the B2B module. Let's go ahead and move on to the next slide, please. All All right, so if we take a look at this picture, what I wanted to do here is show you how the DataPower B2B Gateway can work in multiple modes, and also it complements other organizations, other pillars within DataPower and the software that runs inside those pillars. You can run DataPower as a standalone B2B engine. So for customers that are doing AS2 only, for instance, hands down, this is the most performant and most secure AS2 engine in the marketplace. We're talking thousands of transactions per second for real-time B2B, as opposed to dozens that you typically get with software. So by cutting out the proxy, by moving the DMZ in closer to the edge and securing it there, you also eliminate a lot of the architecture that can slow things down. So it makes our AS2 processing faster than pretty much anything else on the marketplace, like I said, to the tune of thousands per second. So the standalone itself has a lot of value. We also have a lot of value when DataPower Gateway with the B2B module, with the ISAM module, or even an integration module sitting in front of systems downstream that IBM has within other organizations. You may deploy it in front of MFT for a B2B-enabled managed file transfer inside or outside your organization. You can deploy it in front of BPM or IIB to enable complex B2B business process and integration scenarios. You can deploy it actually in front of DataPower integration. Now, the DataPower with integration module is what we typically call a lightweight integration gateway. And a lot of our customers deploy DataPower in the DMZ, and they pass data into a DataPower inside the trusted domain, which then acts as a gateway for all those internal systems. We can deploy with IBM API management, and in fact, DataPower is a required component of our API management solution. It provides all the API security and governance that you need, and also provides all the data that's used for the analytics for API management. From a mobile perspective, when you move down the mobile stack, we deploy in front of mobile first, act as that security gateway in front of the WorkLight development platform. And many of those mobile apps include B2B message level, infrastructure level, and user security is needed for those B2B transactions that are being used as an API. So we're seeing some convergence among API management and B2B. A lot of customers are very interested in how do you take your B2B technology and use APIs to your advantage there. This is something that's an evolution, if you will, in the marketplace, and something that we're building and making sure this gateway can handle those types of APIs. It also provides comprehensive security out of the box integration to Mobile First Protect, which was previously called MOS 360, Trust Your Mobile, and also the Mobile First platform, which, like I said, is WorkLight. So it provides all of that security. From a security standpoint, we're tightly integrated with ISAM. So if you're using ISAM to deploy policies, security policies, DataPower can become that enforcement point for those policies by adding the ISAM module, and we become that policy enforcement point for all data that flows in and out of your network using the policy manager that resides on your ISAM platform today. The same token, we deploy with IBM Federated Identity Manager that provides federated single sign-on, identity mediation, and security token services as well. Lastly here, we can also deploy in front of our existing B2B solutions. So we have a very strong B2B solution within IBM with the Sterling platform, and DataPower actually supplements this platform very well. We can sit in the DMZ and act as a proxy, if you will, to this platform, or a gateway to the platform, or we can actually terminate some B2B messaging data here and pass payloads for processing into Sterling. So it becomes a very good relationship, a complementary deployment, putting an existing DataPower gateway in front of Commerce. And whether or not you would add the B2B module is really going to be dependent upon whether you want to move your B2B governance security closer to the edge and offload some of that work away from your downstream B2B solution. All right, go ahead and move to the next slide, please. Okay, so I want to wrap this up, summarize what we've discussed here from a B2B module perspective. The B2B module makes it easier for your partners to do business. Yeah. And it's very easy to be a new partner in DataPower. It allows you to have B2B up and and you're connecting with your trade partners. It takes about 2 minutes to onboard a trade partner within the DataPower B2B Manager. You can quickly access new customers, new routes, product and service offerings to meet requirements to support Web 2.0 technologies. So it's not just B2B here, it's all the other technologies that go around it. So a lot of customers are using Web 2.0 technologies to support their B2B. So DataPower is very good at helping you meet that challenge with a configuration-based solution. We unlock siloed information with a drop-in integration for your environment. So what that really means is you can take a DataPower hardware appliance, drop it right into your network, plug it in. There's no software to install. It's ready to go. All you have to do is configure it. This really saves you a lot of time from a deployment and maintenance perspective. If you're not using the hardware platform and you're just using virtual, you would deploy the virtual appliance on one of your virtual hosts, be it VMware or Citrix as well. So ultimately, you could drop that on there, and once you bring that image up, the software initializes and it's up. Again, no installation beyond putting it into the virtual environment. Once you bring it up, your software is ready to configure, building those flows that you need for your partners. Improve the performance scalability of your B2B solution. And we do this, like I said, by moving B2B governance security to DataPower, offloading that connectivity away from downstream systems. So that downstream system might be an IIB, some sort of ESB, some sort of integration platform, some sort of business process. You can do some lightweight business process in DataPower. You really have to take a look at your flows and decide if that's really what you want to do. Sometimes it makes sense to optimize your flow by sliding it into DataPower, and sometimes it doesn't. You just really have to do the analysis to determine that. But again, we can offload a lot of that work and make those partner connections to the outside more securely with DataPower. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back, or turn it over. We'll walk you through the rest of the webinar.
Okay, thank you, Rich. All right, so I'll spend the next few minutes basically telling to the DataPower appliance. I'm going to kind of talk you through that. Next slide, please. So one bang for your buck investment is to maybe kind of ask yourself questions about how you're approaching some of your other projects. So for instance, if you have other security needs outside of B2B, DataPower can play in that, as well as if you have web services and maybe you're doing some partner integration outside of B2B again, or maybe you're connecting to something like Salesforce, you might want to use the web service capabilities out of DataPower and securely connect to those systems. Another thing going on right now maybe is mobile applications, and Rich mentioned a little bit about that. A lot of mobile applications are primarily running REST services, and your environment might comprise mostly of SOAP services. While using DataPower, you can actually convert from REST to SOAP to make it easy conversion over and transparent to the actual client. And then finally, maybe you want to start exposing some of these services, whether they're REST or SOAP, and you want to perhaps gain more market share, start looking at doing additional advertising by letting other developers utilize your APIs, and we'll be able to basically allow API management to be a part of your DataPower implementation. So let me show you how some of this is done. Next slide. Okay. So from a security standpoint, you can quickly configure all sorts of security policy enforcement. So on this list here, you can see we support SAML, OAuth 2, Kerberos, and Spinego. If you have needs for HSM, you can put that into the system. We support all of the WS-SPLAT and security stuff, as well as TLS and SSL, along with a number of algorithms for PKI support. So if you have these needs, and it's, again, we're talking outside of the B2B, you can utilize the DataPower to enforce these things for your other types of service. So you're getting a lot more ROI out of your system other than just doing the B2B component here. Okay, next slide. Now, I want to bring up a particular customer that I work with. Actually was running with B2B, and I went over there and worked with them, and they brought up some of those questions, saying, hey, we have all these web services that we need to integrate. Some things are to Salesforce, others to different partners, and we're able to say, hey, we can actually support all of those because DataPower runs on a number of standards. Okay, so all these web service standards that you see listed here, we were able to support, as well as a number of data formats. So this is a customer where they had not only SOAP calls coming in, but REST calls. And using the integration capabilities along with the security capabilities of the DataPower, we were able to take in the REST calls, convert JSON data into what they call JSON-X, which is XML formatted JSON, and then be able to do some manipulation of the data, do some schema validation of the JSON, and then convert it over to SOAP calls or other API calls to the back-end services for their supply chain. So we were able to accomplish all of that along with doing the B2B. So we were able to put up like 40 to 50 services in a very, very short time. And the key to that, at least of the application, was being able to integrate seamlessly with Salesforce. Okay. Other things that DataPower can provide are things like access control, as Rich mentioned. Another thing that we're able to do, and we were able to do this with this particular customer, was manage the traffic. So we were able to throttle and shape traffic coming in so that we didn't overload systems, and then also set up some SLAs with customers to make sure that we were following the SLAs. And then finally, there was a lot of transformation and different connectivity to the back end, and we were also able to complement all of that. And again, this is the part of the nice thing about the DataPower. Even though you may be running it for B2B, there's all this additional potential for you to take advantage of and get actually a lot more ROI out of your system. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to just talk briefly about you might have SOAP services, okay, you want to take advantage of those services that you've created, and now that people are moving towards REST, sometimes people say, well, we're going to do everything in REST, and we need to change the SOAP, but getting out to market is an important thing, so you can use DataPower to receive REST calls, and through some configuration on DataPower, have it converted and call the appropriate SOAP calls on the backside. Meanwhile, you can use things like take the JSON in, do a JSON schema validation, convert it to XML, maybe do another transformation so that it'll to validate the SOAP calls in the back end, and then make the SOAP calls. And then on the return, you could do the exact same thing. Take the SOAP return, transform it into JSON, and return it to the REST client. Okay, so there's another thing that you can use to get more ROI on your existing systems. Okay, next slide. And then finally, since we're talking about REST services and basically APIs on the backside, by having a DataPower, like Rich says, is the gateway of all gateways, the API management sits on top of the DataPower. So you get all of the security you know, the publishing capabilities, the monitoring, the management of all of that as it runs through the DataPower appliance. And as Rich said, there's like, you know, thousands of transactions that could go through. So you get the ability now to analyze, you know, the APIs, be able to throttle, be able to set up SLAs and plans, and basically extend out your investment in DataPower by adding the API management component to complete, you know, your services. Okay, so those are just a couple of ways to end with your investment, and you know, I'm going to turn it back over to Bryan.
Thank you, Bryan. You know, how you met with the of Rich and I. Thank you. Actually with an API and help them maybe or other things about the deal. To think that if you have you have to think also about opportunities that Rich and Bryan mentioned, and the reason that see what he mentioned in how this solution. Our themes, if you will, is to bring technology. One of the things that okay, Bryan. So, and iSOA, you know, some of you call what you meant. We have a server environment right for being one launching where likely thank you all. If you can ask questions. You've got questions.